Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're going to be talking about spellcasting. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the Artificer, the half-caster that no one seems to play. Half-casters have a pretty rough deal when it comes to their magic. When they get their 5th level spells, which are the top spells that they can achieve, it's level 17. Other spellcasters are getting their 9th level spells at this point, and the poor Artificer is stuck with 5th level spells. So, what do you get when you spent 17 levels in Artificer? What do you get rewarded with? You get a spell list that has 7 spells on it, which isn't very many. Your subclass will give you a couple, but the fact that you only have 7 to choose from just means that these 5th level spells are not going to be a big motivator for you. However, for those who have stuck it out this long and really want to know, okay, what can I do with my Artificer magic at this top tier of play when I'm in the final stages of an epic campaign and I finally get this 5th level magic? What can I do with it? Well, I have a top 5 list for you. Starting with number 5, we have Transmute Rock. The Transmute Rock spell, very simple concept. You can either turn stone into mud or mud into stone. Simply put, you can choose one of two effects. Either you choose existing stone within a 40-foot radius, or 40-foot cube rather, and you turn it into mud. This mud becomes incredibly difficult terrain. 1 foot takes 4 foot of movement difficult terrain, so double difficult. And if you do it with rock that's suspended like a ceiling, it'll fall and creatures have to make a dex save or take bludgeoning damage. So yeah, you can basically turn a stone floor or ceiling into a mud pit, which makes it almost impossible to get through. And that's kind of cool. Like, let's be honest, if you're being chased by enemies and you just make the ceiling collapse as a mud pool, or if you just make the floor into mud so they can't follow you, that's actually kind of awesome. Like, it's a cool spell. The other one is that you can turn mud into stone. So if you are already in a mud pit or a quicksand area, so there's either of those, you turn it into soft rock. But if a creature's in the mud, they are now restrained in rock. Imagine going through a mud puddle, or I guess a mud pit. Enemies are following you, you get out of it, and you cast Transmute Rock. Now they're stuck in rock, and they have to make a pretty high strength save, or basically break the rock apart with attacks, just to get out of it. This is a really cool power. It doesn't have that many applications, and obviously I'm working from a limited list here, but I can think of quite a few situations when you're surrounded by rock, and you want to turn it into mud, or vice versa. That's just cool. So yeah, that one can go on the 5th spot on the list. Now, the 4th spot on the list I give to Greater Restoration. Artificers do have some healing, and Greater Restoration is one of the best healing spells you got. You can fix status ailments, so anything that's affecting strength, dexterity, intelligence, etc., you can cure it. Anything that's affecting your hit point maximum, which a lot of undead creatures can sap your maximum hit points, this will fix that. Anything that is causing you exhaustion. If you've got a level of exhaustion, Greater Restoration can take it away. So that's kind of awesome, because exhaustion is really debilitating. You can even end curses with it. And you can break attunement from cursed objects. You can't uncurse the objects, but cursed objects will attach themselves to the person who attunes to them and won't let them go. Greater Restoration says, yeah, you will, and it just lets go. It's a pretty nice effect, and every party should have at least one person who has it. Of course, by this point, the cleric might have had it for 8 solid levels, but if you don't have a cleric and you've got a pesky cursed item that's been plaguing you the entire campaign, why not grab the Artificer's Greater Restoration and just take care of it? Then at number 3, we have Bigbs Hand. This is a wizard classic, which creates a floating, large, spectral hand. You can then use this hand, as you concentrate on it for a minute, to punch people, grab people, lift people, crush people, slam people, or even block people. This is a large hand with a enormous strength score of 26, which dictates if it can hit people, how far it can push, whether or not it can grapple with someone. If it's grabbing anything smaller than large, it has advantage. And if it's blocking someone, they have to have a strength score higher than the hand. Otherwise, the hand is a solid object and they can't move through it. They could still attack it, but it's got a hit point maximum that's equal to your own. And a decent AC at 20. So Bigbs Hand is just a really powerful summoning spell. It summons a giant hand that will pretty much throw your enemies around, and it does force damage. So yeah, it's just a nice summoning spell. And if nothing else, you can use it to just push objects around. It's a really powerful summon. Now, number 2 on the list is a battlefield control spell, and one of the most interesting ones, Wall of Stone. Wall of Stone summons a bunch of stone panels that you can use to construct a stone shape. You can obviously just make a wall out of them, just a flat wall. You can also interlock them magically to create a ramp or a bridge or some kind of like stone structure. What's even cooler about this spell is that once you have built this structure, if you maintain concentration on the spell for the full 10 minutes that you cast it, it doesn't go away like some of the other wall spells. It just becomes a permanent stone structure. So if you want to build a wall in 10 minutes, it doesn't pull stone from the thing. It makes the stone appear magically. And then the stone just stays. You have now created a wall of stone that's permanent. You do that a few times, you got a building. But yeah, it's great for battlefield control, for dividing enemies. They could attack the stone, or if you lose your concentration on it, then the stone will disappear. But stone is pretty tough stuff to break. So yeah, it's got utility uses, it's got battlefield control uses, and it's just real handy. So Wall of Stone, top tier pick for an Artificer. The only one that I'd say goes above this is a spell that is actually worthy of a 17th level character, because this is one of the most powerful spells in the game. Animate Objects. What Artificer would be complete without the ability to animate inanimate stuff? You can bring life to 10 objects, smaller, tiny objects. They gain a flying speed, they gain blind sight, and they will follow your commands for the next minute. You can also animate 5 medium objects, 2 large objects, or even a huge object if you so desire. And in doing so, they all follow your commands. You can't do all of those, you have to pick one. But the most common thing people do with this is just animate 10 tiny objects, because you can use a single bonus action to command them all to attack something, or a multitude of creatures. 1 bonus action and 10 attacks go and ring out across the battlefield. Obviously, the creatures can try to fight back, but if you're just, animating small things and sending them to fight for you, that's attacks you're not taking. And they actually the tiny objects have a decent AC and a pretty decent chance to hit, too. The Animate Objects spell is often cited as the pure death by numbers spell, and it's one of the best ways to deal damage. Obviously, you're level 17, there's going to be a lot of tough creatures out there, but Animate Objects still holds its own, even then. And I would say that Animate Objects is a great pick for anyone who wants to do damage, but it also works outside of combat. You want to animate the bricks on a wall to tear you a door? Go ahead and just tell them to move. You want to animate a large thing blocking your path to just walk itself out of the way? Go for it. As long as it's huge or smaller, you can do it. You want to animate a boulder to just fall on people? Go for it. Like, you can do all of these things using the utility power of the spell. But yeah, nothing beats just animating 10 tiny little things and having them attack your enemies. That's so cool. And as an Artificer who wants to control, the artifice items and has homunculuses and constructs and all that, this just adds to your repertoire of powerful things. And yeah, Animate Objects is truly a spell that does not let down. Even at this top tier of play, It is worth taking for anyone who can take it, even artificers. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more spellcasting reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.